All right, let's just dive right in. We all walk around pretty confident that we know what's real. The world feels solid, right? It's just out there. But what if I told you that the world you experience, all its colors, its sounds, its shapes, what if that world only springs into existence because you're there to perceive it?
So, to get our heads around this huge idea, let's start with something really simple. Forget all the crazy quantum physics stuff for just a moment. Let's just ask this. What is the true, real, actual color of a wooden table? Sounds easy, doesn't it? Well, you'd be surprised.
So you look at it with your own eyes, and it's brown, it's smooth, it's shiny. But then, as the philosopher Bertrand Russell loved to point out, you whip out a microscope, and suddenly it's not smooth at all. It's this wild, rough landscape of jagged hills and deep valleys. So what's the deal? Which one is the real table? The smooth one we see or the rough one under the microscope? And right there, that's where our confidence in what's real starts to crumble.
And believe me, this problem goes way deeper than just what a microscope shows us. The very things we think are just part of the table are actually, well, not so fixed.
Just think about it for a sec. The color, it totally changes depending on where the light is hitting it and where you happen to be standing. The shape, it's a rectangle, sure, but look at it from the side, and it becomes a trapezoid with all sorts of weird angles. And that thump sound it makes, that wooden sound is completely different if you tap it on the leg versus the top. So here's the big takeaway. None of these properties are in the table. They are all a relationship between you, the table, and the world around you.
Okay, now let's dig into our first huge clue. Because our human point of view is just one of millions out there. If reality really does depend on who's looking, what on earth does it look like to other creatures?
Okay, get this. You see a plain old yellow flower, but a bee sees an ultraviolet light. To them, that exact same flower is lit up with these incredible, intricate patterns we can't see. It's like a glowing runway at an airport, guiding it straight to the nectar. It's a whole other reality existing in the exact same spot as ours.
Or take a bat. We walk into a dark cave, and for us, there's nothing, just darkness and silence. But for a bat, that cave is alive with information. It's using echolocation to build this rich, unbelievably detailed sound picture of everything around it. The bat's reality isn't made of light. It's built from echoes we have no idea are even there.
And this is just a brilliant example. A snake, hunting in total darkness, doesn't see a mouse with its eyes. No, it senses its prey as a warm, glowing heat image. It's seeing in infrared. So is its view any less real than ours? Not at all.
Yeah, this quote just hits the nail on the head. You know that old story about the blind men and the elephant? That's us. We're all just grabbing onto one little piece of reality, the leg, the trunk, the tail, and thinking we've got the whole picture. But we don't. Our human senses are giving us just one version of reality, and there are countless others.
Now, this whole idea that reality depends on the observer isn't just some weird quirk of biology. It turns out this is a fundamental rule of the universe. It's woven right into the fabric of physics itself.
And you've experienced this a million times. Think of an ambulance siren. As it's racing toward you, the pitch is really high, right? And then as it passes and moves away, the pitch drops way down. So what's the real pitch of the siren? Well, there isn't one. The sound you hear is completely relative to your motion. The pitch isn't in the siren, it's in the relationship between you and the siren.
And this is where things get truly mind-bending. Einstein took this idea and just blew it up. His theory of special relativity proved that it's not just sound, it's an object's physical shape and even how fast time itself passes that are not fixed. They all literally change depending on your speed. This just completely shatters the idea of one single objective, unchanging reality for everybody.
But hold on, as strange as relativity is, that's just the tip of the iceberg. If you really want to see how bizarre things get, we have to go smaller, way smaller, all the way down to the quantum level, where the universe doesn't just rewrite the rules, it throws them right out the window.
So down at this tiny, tiny scale, particles are just weird. They can exist in a state called superposition. And all that means is that before you measure it, a particle isn't in any one specific place. It's basically in all possible places at once. It's not a thing so much as a ghostly cloud of potential.
Now, here's where it gets truly wild, because this quantum weirdness can actually scale up to our world. This is the famous Schrödinger's cat thought experiment. You have a cat in a box, and its fate is tied to a single random quantum event. Since that tiny atom exists in a superposition of both decayed and not decayed at the same time, Well, logically, the poor cat must also be in a superposition of being both alive and dead until we open the box and look. And this leads to an absolutely staggering conclusion. The moment you open the box, the moment you observe the system, that whole wave of possibilities collapses into one single definite reality. The particle chooses a state. The cat becomes either alive or dead. The observer doesn't just passively see reality. The very act of looking seems to force reality into existence.
And look, if your brain is hurting right now, that's a good thing. You're in good company. Niels Bohr, one of the fathers of this stuff, basically said that if you're not completely shocked by quantum theory, you haven't understood it. It's supposed to be bizarre.
Okay, so from tables to bats to quantum particles, every single clue is pointing in the exact same direction. It's time to put it all together and finally answer our original question.
And that brings us to that classic philosophical riddle. You've heard it a million times, but it's not just a brain teaser. It's the perfect test for everything we've just talked about. And the answer, based on this observer-dependent model of reality, is a clear and simple no. The falling tree creates pressure waves in the air, vibrations. But those vibrations are not sound. The experience we call sound is only created when those vibrations are picked up by an ear and processed by a brain. No observer, no sound. Just silent waves moving through the air.
So here's the bottom line. The world you see and hear and feel every day isn't a direct copy of some external objective reality. It's a construction. It's a relationship. It's the unique result of your brain and your senses interacting with a physical world that, in its pure, unobserved state, is something we can never truly know directly.
Which leaves us with one final profound question that has haunted philosophers and physicists for centuries. We've seen that the world we experience is a co-creation between us and the universe. So what, if anything, is truly out there when no one is looking at all? That might just be the biggest mystery of them all.